And we're live. Hello, all, and welcome. I am the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher Show. So, how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. So, I'm going to open up Skype here right from the start. So, for those of you who would like to talk to me directly, my Skype is the Realist Philosopher. That is the Realist Philosopher. Alrighty. So, just send me a message if you have Skype. That is my Skype contact. How y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. Anybody see that interview with Brie Larson and was it Chris Hemsworth and the Don Cheadle or whatever the hell his name is? Name sounds like Don Cheeto or something. I don't know. Where Brie Larson was essentially talking about how strong she was. That's hilarious. Chris Hemsworth was making fun of her. Because she was doing the usual typical feminist thing, trying to hog all the spotlight and talking about how great she was and how not so great he was. And Chris wasn't having anything of it. This is the guy that plays Thor. Oh, man, he trolled her pretty good. And she wasn't too happy. She wasn't too happy. And he was only joking. But, of course, as most feminists are, she had no sense of humor. Most feminists don't have a sense of humor. Have you noticed that? Have you ever talked to a feminist? It seems like the only time they have a sense of humor is when it comes to making fun of men. Now, when they get to making fun of men, oh man, then they can laugh their asses off, sure. Yeah, when it comes to getting a laugh, a good laugh at the expense of a man, oh, then they have a sense of humor. Oh yeah, But of course, when it comes to laughing at themselves and not taking themselves too seriously, no. It's not going to happen. And boy, oh boy, was she taking herself too fucking seriously. I tell you, she was taking herself so seriously, in fact, and just going on and on and on about how great her character was and how great she was that, yeah, Chris felt the need to bring her down a peg or two. It was real funny. If you haven't seen it yet, I would suggest you do. Man, she flipped out. On camera, got real mad. I'm not trying to be Tom Cruise. I'm trying to be me and the best me or some shit. I don't know. It was stupid. It was stupid. I suggest you check it out. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. That was some funny stuff. I think she's going to ruin that movie. I'm not looking forward to it now. I was looking forward to it until I found out she would be in it, and then I was like, okay, maybe she'll just have a supporting role, or maybe they're just trying to bolster her image so that any future movies with her in them will, get asses in the seats, which I don't think is going to happen. Asses that she doesn't have, by the way. Have you seen her ass? She doesn't have an ass. They had to get her an ass double. Why'd they hire this broad? I don't understand. Why not hire a broad with an ass who can smile and who has a wider range of emotion, right? I mean, she has the emotional range of of this toothpick here. Zero. She has like one face and that's it. Did she even smile once? Did she even smile once in that piece of crap Marvel movie where the fucking character that she was named after, Captain Marvel, was named Mar and then Vel? It's like, oh, Vel, Marvel, Marvel. Oh, I'll name myself Captain Marvel. It's so stupid. And how original, right? I think it was Captain because she was a captain in the military. A lot of female captains in the military, right? Yeah, they got that position from merit, right? Yeah, right. We have affirmative action. We have quotas we must meet. We need to get a female captain to show how virtuous we are and how progressive. How about her? Captain Marvel. So original. Yeah, that wasn't even the original Captain Marvel. The original Captain Marvel was that Shazam dude. I saw both movies. Shazam was okay. It could have been better. All right. They didn't do enough explanation of the whole backstory, and I got to say that Billy Baxton, or whatever the hell his name was when he became the actual Captain Marvel, wasn't so smart. I thought the Captain Marvel had the wisdom of Solomon. I think Solomon was a dumb cunt because when he became Shazam, who was really Captain Marvel, not much wisdom there. But anyway, and I didn't like I don't want to spoil it for you, but it was meh for me. Maybe like a 5 out of 10. Captain Marvel was like a 2. Piece of crap. What a horrible movie. What else did I see? Oh, I saw that Hellboy. Horrible. What is it with Hollywood? Unimaginative, cowardly cunts. They're all afraid to make something new because it might lose money. Let's keep regurgitating the same crap because that stuff made money. And we regurgitate it, it'll make more money. We know it's proven, it's tested. Well, I mean, what was fucking the original Hellboy 20 years ago or something? More than 20? With a different character? Ron Perlman? That was a good fucking Hellboy. All right, I like Ron Perlman. I mean, yeah, he's getting a little old now. He's getting long in the tooth, so I guess he couldn't handle the part anymore. But, yeah, that was a good fucking Hellboy. At least the first one. The second one, The Golden Army, not a very good movie. Not a very good fucking movie with those pathetic, unbelievable elves. I didn't believe the main character or his motivations. But, yeah, why remake these movies? Just come up with something new. That would make money. You want to make money, come up with new shit. People will be like, it's something new and it looks good. Make something new that's good. Just do that. Can't you do that, Hollywood? No, they can't even do that. Gets on my nerves. You wait for something new to come out in the theaters. Never. They never make anything new. Pisses me off. But yeah, I give that Hellboy maybe 4 out of 10. Yeah. I'm a strict critic, okay? A lot of people let their emotions get the better of them. In this younger generation, they don't have a clue what a good movie is. They don't know what makes a good plot. What's a MacGuffin? What's a Deus Ex Machina, if I pronounced that correctly, which I don't think I did. But anyway, yeah, poor movie. I don't want to spoil it. Okay, I was going to give some spoilers, but maybe I'll do a movie review of the best movies or something, maybe of 2018 or something like that. I could do that. I'm an excellent critic, by the way. But anyway, all right, let's move on. But yeah, Hellboy, meh. Captain Marvel, totally sucked. And I think this new fucking Avengers movie will suck too. I think Brie Larson will steal the show. She'll be the most powerful Avenger. Really? Didn't she get her power from one of those Infinity Stones? What about the Scarlet Witch? I thought the Scarlet Witch got her powers from an Infinity Stone, and she was actually able to destroy an Infinity Stone. Wouldn't that mean she's at least equally as powerful as Captain Marvel? Oh no, she's not a feminist! The feminazis are the most powerful females on the planet. Yeah, she's not gynocentric enough. She's not man-hating enough. She knows how to smile. No, she's not an emotionless, evil-looking cunt. No range of emotion. One-dimensional character. No, she's none of those things, so she's not as powerful as wonderful Captain Marvel, who shoots pew, 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 lasers out of her fucking hands. What are they, fucking plasma beams or some shit? Plasma. Wouldn't it burn her hands up? It's so stupid. I gotta move on. All right. Got a lot of stuff I want to talk about. All right, so this story, I only talk about stories that interest me. So while there may be stories in the mainstream media that people think are a big deal, I don't talk about them if they don't interest me. So, that's some strong coffee. All right, so Washington, D.C., home of progressive nut jobs. Well, listen to this story. D.C. is housing the homeless in upscale apartments. It hasn't gone as planned. Okay, I don't understand this. Now, listen to this. So, this is great. Some upscale Art Deco apartment building that's so fancy that it has a lobby with marble floors, a fountain, couches, antique furniture, marble pillars, and it's got homeless people living in it. Well, they're not homeless anymore. They got vouchers. Oh, my God. What is this crap? The SWAT team, the overdose, the complaints of pot smoke in the air, and feces in the stairwell. It would be hard to pinpoint a moment when things took a turn for the worse. I bet you could. I bet it would be the very first tenant that moved in with one of these vouchers who had formerly been homeless. at Sedgwick Gardens. Even the name is pretentious as fuck. A stately apartment building in Northwest Washington. I would be willing to bet you that this is not the apartment building that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez moved into. Yeah, she loves the poor and the downtrodden so much, just as all socialists do. So much so that she wouldn't want to live anywhere near these fucking people. She wouldn't want to live fucking 5 miles within this garbage building, which didn't used to be a garbage building, but now it's got a bunch of homeless people shooting up in stairwells. So, yeah. Isn't that interesting? They get an apartment with a working toilet and they're still taking dumps in stairwells. What's up with that? But the Art Deco complex, which overlooks Rock Creek Park. Excuse me. Which overlooks Rock Creek Park and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, is today the troubled focus of a debate on housing policy in a city struggling with the twin crisis of homelessness and gentrification. How is gentrification a problem? So gentrification is essentially when people who have, money, moving into an area that's being fixed up and renovated and improved. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Oh, that's a problem because we hate rich people. We don't mind turning our cities into, places that look like they got struck by a nuclear bomb, like fucking Detroit, where if you go even a half mile outside of the city center, it looks like a war zone where nobody lives, with all these empty shells of buildings. All these fire-damaged once houses that no longer house anyone. They house rats, so they house something, but not people. Located in the affluent Cleveland Park neighborhood and designed by Mihran Mesrobian. Fuck. I wonder sometimes if some of these pretentious architect fuckers and other artists, they consider themselves artists anyway, I wonder if they give themselves these names. Because this is one pretentious fucking name. Mihran Mesrobian, the pre-war architect behind such Washington landmarks as the Hay Adams Hotel. Sedgwick Gardens was once out of reach for low-income district residents. Yeah. How did it become within reach? Socialism! By the way, there's a movie out there that reminds me. It's called Bulworth. Has Warren Beatty in it as a corrupt politician who decides to, go straight and become good after he decides to kill himself because he's so depressed about being a corrupt politician, and he suddenly decides to become a socialist politician. It's hilarious. It's called Bulworth. If you ain't seen this movie before, you should. And do not embrace socialism. He embraces it. It's a big, big mistake, but it's a hilarious movie. I suggest you watch it if you've never seen it before. Yeah, once out of reach. Yeah, once out of reach. Oh, but now it's not. That changed 2 years ago when D.C.'s housing officials dramatically increased the value of rental subsidies. How did they do that? Your taxes, bitches! The goal was to give tenants who had previously clustered in impoverished, high-crime areas east of the Anacostia River a shot at living in more desirable neighborhoods. Why? Right, this is the magic dirt theory. The one that Democrats believe that if you give people a nice environment, they'll somehow become nice people because, nobody is what they is. Are what they are, right? Nobody is what they are, right? I mean, it's just, oh, no. You're not what you are. You're where you live, right? It's your environment. Everything's environmental. Everything is constructed, right? Nothing is biological. So if we take a bunch of homeless losers who have made the choice of being homeless, and we put them in a nice place, they'll become productive members of society. Really? Did you ever stop to think that the problems they're having aren't because they're homeless, but the problems that they have caused them to be homeless? Oh, no, it can't be that. Because, nobody would ever choose to be homeless, right? Wrong. Yeah. At Sedgwick Gardens, the effort met with wild success. What does that mean, even? Did these people get jobs? Or when you say wild success, do you just mean you put them in a place and now they're no longer outside? Well, I guess if you qualify that as success, sure. have a pretty low bar for success. As of February, tenants with city-issued housing vouchers had filled nearly half. Ooh! So instead of being an upscale building now it's public housing. That's great. Have filled nearly half of the buildings, roughly 140 units. You want to know why half of them were empty? It's expensive. But don't worry. If you're homeless, we'll help you live there. We won't help you live there if you're a hard-working American citizen. No. You have to be so down on your fucking luck, you're eating your own feces and babbling to yourself incoherently. Oh, here's a house that costs more than most people can afford. Ooh, I can be crazy indoors. So, mixed income developments aren't rare in the district. Yeah, it'll rub off, right? It's like magic pixie dust. All these rich people are covered in magic pixie dust, and it's going to rub off. If they bump into one of these rich people living in one of these nice apartments, some of that magic fairy dust will sprinkle onto them, and then they'll become productive people too. Where officials often require that new buildings preserve some space for working class residents. Right, working class residents, not broke mofos who have no jobs and were formerly living in a cardboard box behind the down-and-out 7-Eleven that's 25 miles away from this fucking place in the worst part of the city. But the situation at Sedgwick's Gardens is different. Many of the new tenants are previously homeless men and women. Yeah, there's a big difference between working class and homeless. Homeless people make $0. $0 bills, yo! Working class people make some money. Homeless men and women who came directly from shelters or the streets. Yeah. Why aren't shelters good enough for these people? And by the way, why do they even deserve shelters? You shouldn't give these people anything. Don't incentivize, don't enable them. Some are still struggling with severe behavioral problems. Great! Give them a nice apartment. That'll solve their mental issues. Even though those mental issues caused them to be in the horrible environment to begin with. Okay. The result has been a high-stakes social experiment. Social experiment. Yeah, they're socialists. Everything's a petri dish for these fucking people. Well, we ruined Russia and 100 other countries. Let's try it again in America. Social experiment that so far has left few of its subjects happy. Police visits to the building have nearly quadrupled since 2016. Some tenants have fled. Nah, really? In February, responding to complaints, the city began staffing the building with social workers at night to deal with problems that arise. Yeah. Let's make the government bigger, right? Now they need to hire more social workers just to deal with the homeless troublemakers in a single building. And that must be great, right? Can you imagine paying rent in this place? How pissed off you must be. I'm spending $4 or $5 grand a motherfucking month to live here in American dollars, and these poor motherfuckers are getting free rent. Huh? It's Sith. Hello, Sith.
Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm
How
pretty
are you?
good. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I've been hearing about that building that is currently inhabited by, um,
Homeless?
yeah, homeless people. It's disgusting.
They shit in the stairwells.
Yeah, it's obvious because they have no education. They don't know how to behave in society, and that's why they live outside, because they don't want to conform to how people behave. They don't want to work, so of course they shit in the stairs.
It doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. I don't know. What I don't get is why people don't get it. Why these bleeding hearts in government, they just can't figure it out. I mean, hello, you can't take a wild animal and put it into a nice domesticated environment and expect it not to tear your fucking throat out when you're sleeping. Maybe not even when you're sleeping. You're watching Wheel of Fortune and you got a fucking lion living in your fucking house. It gets hungry. You look pretty good for dinner. I don't understand why people think that changing the environment of people like this is going to change their behavior.
I think it's because it feels good. it rewards them with good feelings. So that's why they want to take as many poor people and put them in houses. But it doesn't work if they don't want to change the way they behave. They cannot change them.
Right, right. Did they have anything like this in France where you are? Any of these types of programs for housing, like, for example, the Muslims? They've been bringing in mass numbers, like the so-called refugees. They have any buildings like that in France where the government is paying the rent for these people?
They pay the rent, they pay the food, they give them free money,
Jesus.
uh, food, clothes even. They have a foundations and associations that give them shelter.
My
It's
God.
all paid by tax money
Unbelievable.
and charity, of course.
Wow.
Uh,
Now,
That's why
go ahead, go ahead.
when Notre Dame burned, I didn't care because I know that all that money, 1 billion euros, is going to go to the pocket of corrupt politicians.
Now, what do you think about that Notre Dame? I think that I don't believe for a second that it was an accident. And there have been some authorities speculating. I've heard some people say that some people are speculating and saying, oh, it was a spark. They believe it was maybe a spark from some welding that was done. And the spark kind of landed in some wood somewhere, and it smoldered until everybody left, and then the fire started when everyone was gone. That seems awfully contrived to me. It doesn't. You can't prove that anyway. It's just them speculating because they don't really want to look into or believe that it was arson, because if it was arson, then it was probably Muslims, because the Muslims in France have been attacking and burning down churches and vandalizing Christian, especially Christian Catholic churches in France. So the natural conclusion would be that if it was arson, it was probably a Muslim. So I think if they found evidence of arson, I think that the French authorities would probably hide it and present a cover story to the public, because we got to protect those wonderful Muslims that are burning down our churches.
Yeah, I think it was. They have Muslim workers in those buildings, in those churches that repaired the Notre Dame and all the churches here in France. So it might have been a fucking Islamist or a fucking Muslim terrorist.
Yeah, I don't believe for a second that this was an accident, and I'll tell you why. Because these construction companies that do this kind of work, renovating old buildings, they're generally speaking very high quality companies. They take a lot. They have a lot of safeguards in place. They're very professional. They don't get to do these kind of high echelon jobs, these kind of jobs that pay a boatload of money, unless they're very good at what they do. And they're not going to get hired unless they have a very good reputation. And they have a good reputation because they tend not to burn down the buildings that they're renovating. So, I mean, it's in their best interest to have as many safeguards in place as possible. And this seems like the kind of accident that would happen to, oh, I don't know, some nickel and dime outfit that isn't very good at what they do. And to get this kind of job, you would have to be very good at what you do. So I can't imagine a company that would get a multi-million-dollar job like this would make such a mistake. What do you think?
Well, I think companies. It's a multinational company. It's called Bouygues. It has a lot of money, so of course it has a lot of procedures to respect. And I think they didn't. Oh, they didn't respect the procedures, the way to work in that building, or it was well, it was a fucking Islamist, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, the fire happened supposedly after the place closed down, like within minutes after everybody had left. So somebody could have snuck in, or somebody could have remained behind, or somebody could have left the fire behind or started the fire before they left. I don't believe for a second it was an accident. Again, there's just too much to lose. If a company like this burns down Notre Dame, they'll never get work again. Okay, so they'll go out of business. So it's in their best interest not to burn the place down, is what I'm saying. So I really, again, I don't believe the cover story. And it's not proven, by the way. But the only thing I've heard is some authority speculating that there was some welding being done near some old wood, and a spark maybe leaped from the welding onto a piece of wood and smoldered until everyone left, and then it caught fire. That sounds like bullshit to me. That sounds like bullshit. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that for a second, especially when so many churches in France have been vandalized by Islamists in the country. So it's very suspicious to me. Very suspicious.
Yes, I do think so. Well, it's because Islam, they hate Christianity.
Yes.
It's an opposing religion,
Oh, yeah.
and we've been fighting them for over 1,300 years
Mm-hmm.
across all Western and Eastern Europe,
Oh, yeah.
from Spain, Portugal to France to Austria to all those countries, all those neighboring countries to the Ottoman Empire for hundreds of years. And
Yep.
now people, they forget all about this, that we used to fight Muslim pirates, Muslim invaders
Mm-hmm.
from the land and from the sea. And
Yeah.
now we accept them because, well, because the Nazis, they did things to Jewish people 75 years ago. And
Yeah.
now we have to be so weak. We have
Mm.
no spine to protect ourselves from these scumbags.
Yeah, it makes me mad. That's why they don't teach any real history anymore. That's why history became social studies, socialism, communism, social studies. I've tried to tell people for quite some time now that all these social sciences and bullshit, they're just vehicles to deliver leftist communist propaganda to students. I don't know if they had that in your education system, but I remember when I was young and in school, it used to be called history class, and then it became social studies. And I was like, wait a second. I thought we're studying history. Yeah, it's history. We've just renamed it social studies. And then they stopped teaching history. And they're teaching this social propaganda bullshit. It's very amusing. And people also seem to forget that before the Ottoman Empire fell, it was around at the same time that America got their freedom from the British. And for a long period of time there, a good 30 years, they were actually abducting Americans from naval vessels and holding them hostage or selling them directly into slavery if their family and friends back in America couldn't afford the ransom to get them back. So literally, millions of Americans became slaves, and eventually something like 20% of the American GDP was going toward the Ottoman Empire to pay ransoms for American citizens who were sold to slavery.
I have a question. Why didn't the Americans wage war against the Ottoman Empire to destroy them?
Oh, that's a good question. So some of that has to do with our lack of a navy, and we actually did. This is, again, history people don't know about. So the president at the time, he said, wait a second, we're paying 20% to these motherfuckers. Why don't we just put that money toward building a navy? Because at the time, we were recently freed from Britain. We were a very new country. We didn't even have a navy, really, which is why they were able to, with impunity, kidnap our people so that they could hold them from ransom. So what happened was that we built a navy. We started fighting them. There were many, many sea battles. You could say there was a war at sea, in effect, which once we actually developed a navy, which happened very quickly, and we started fighting these people instead of placating them and paying ransoms, guess what? They stopped abducting our people. And there was no need for any kind of war. I mean, we fought a war at sea whenever they tried to abduct one of our people. We developed a navy. Then U.S. naval vessels started accompanying merchant ships. There were many, many naval battles. Then the Ottoman Empire started losing a lot of ships because we had just built this new navy, and it was the most up-to-date ships, the best cannons, equipped with the best cannon, the best gunners, and lots of American naval personnel. And so they started losing lots of ships, lots of money, and then we started attacking their merchant ships. And before you know it, quid pro quo, and they said, okay, We're losing too much money here. We're not able to effectively trade anymore throughout our own empire. It's not economically viable to continue taking Americans as it was before. So they just moved their focus to kidnapping other people. But yeah, we did fight back, and they did stop taking our people. It wasn't necessary to go into an all-out war with them on land as well as sea. But there were a great number of battles at sea as well. And this was, of course, before fiat currency, so people were a lot more careful about going to war than they are now. I mean, they'll do what's necessary defensively and attack the enemy when they need to back then, but war was the absolutely, positively last measure to resort to because it's expensive, right? This was before people just said, hey, I got an idea. Let's just print money. Let's just conjure it out of thin air. And then we don't really need to worry. And we can wage endless wars. And we'll just pile up loads of debt that we don't have to worry about. Our great-great-great-great-grandkids will have to worry about it. But fuck them. I'll be long dead. So, yeah, we did, in a sense, have a war at sea. And this war, which was mostly defensive but also offensive because we were attacking their naval vessels as well in retaliation. And also their merchant ships. It made them decide to leave us alone. Essentially. So that's basically what happened. But yeah, I mean, millions of Americans. I don't think people understand this. And even before that, you know, most of the countries that the Muslims are in right now, they took those through conquest. Ooh, do people understand this? That, you know, they think that white people are colonizers. Hello? Everybody that left fucking Africa was a colonizer, okay? The Europeans colonized the European peninsula, the European continent. Everybody moved out from Africa and colonized. And then some other people came in and colonized by killing them. Everybody's a fucking colonizer, including the Muslims, by the way. Every country they're in now was taken from other people. And then they enslaved those people. Millions and millions of white people were enslaved during the Middle Ages. People don't seem to understand this. Lots and lots of white people were slaves, too. You don't see us run into Muslims asking for reparations. Of course, they have no money anyway, so they couldn't give us reparations, which is why, the black people keep demanding reparations from us because we have actual money, and they don't.
Slavery has been going on for 10,000 years, so it's not something new.
Yeah, it's nothing new. I mean, people displacing other people and then taking their place, and then other people coming in and challenging them for that land because, real estate's the one thing that they're not making any more of, right? So it's in high demand. So, the right of conquest is recognized by everybody, unless, of course, you're white. Then you're not in any way, shape, or form entitled to what you have gained through conquest. But everybody else, it's okay to murder and rape and pillage and kill and take people's land. It's okay if you're black or brown, but if you're white, you're evil. So, yeah, we were a hell of a lot kinder, by the way, to the Native Americans than black Africans or Muslims were to the people that they displaced and colonized. People don't seem to understand that. So is there anything else you'd like to add, Sith?
Well, I would like to add that America and Europe and Australia, we are the founders of the modern world.
Yes.
If we disappear as white descendants of all the knowledge we've been acquiring for 2,000 years, the rest of the human population will perish in 100 years. We will pass from 7 billion people to 1 billion people. And I think they want to get rid of white people in order to reduce population too. Because if they get rid of us, the globalists, they get rid of us, the human population will decrease vastly.
Yes. Absolutely. Not only that, but it's also about control. The only way that they can decrease the population and gain control in a globalist manner is to get rid of white people because we're self-sufficient. Generally speaking, of course, there's exceptions, of course. There's a lot of homeless people, too, and a lot of mentally ill people, and people have just been damaged by that very same globalist system. But, average, speaking of averages, whites are pretty self-sufficient. We take care of ourselves. We produce a lot of resources. We don't need big governments. And, of course, to create a globalist regime, you need a big daddy socialist government that needs people who are dependent upon the government. White people aren't dependent. White people can take care of themselves. White people are the ones that have, again, as you said, yes, and as I've said in the past, created the modern world. So yeah, they got to get rid of us, right? Because we breed inequality. They don't tell you how we breed inequality by creating such wonderful countries and such high standards of living that nobody else can compete. Right? No other group can compete with us. So this creates all of these disenfranchised groups within white countries. Well, hey, they can go live somewhere else if they don't like it. But they like it because, we are, again, we're so productive. We create so much wealth that regardless of any disparities between groups, whites and blacks, they still do much better in our countries than they would in, say, Zimbabwe, which, by the way, had a huge famine when all the white people left. And the population just dropped like a fucking anvil off a cliff, right? Because, the population had grown to such a high proportion because they had lots of white farmers. And white farmers are very good at growing food. They're very productive. They employ the latest technological means for creating the most amount of food, which enabled the Zimbabwe culture to, the Zimbabwe population to grow very, very high. And then when the white people left and took their productive capability with them, most of the food was gone. So lots and lots of people starved to death and dropped to a level where the local black farmers could actually support, which was, tens of millions lower. And they're still starving to death right now. The only reason that Zimbabwe is able to maintain anything near the population it had before was because they're getting lots of aid from outside bleeding heart do-gooders who should just let them suffer the consequences of their actions so people see what happens when you employ socialist policies. Lots of people die. Capitalism good,
Yes.
socialism bad.
I've read articles that mentioned that if Africa did not receive all the white technology and all the aid and the colonization, there will not even be 100 million black Africans and Muslims.
It's true. That's true. If you look at the population of South Africa, for example, it increased 8 times between World War II and now. So in a 75-year period, they had a population increase of 8 times. So that's a lot. That's huge because of the white farmers and the white technology and the white healthcare. And these are the very same people they're killing now and want to kick out of their country. Because, the white people, they create too much success. They're too productive. They create too high a standard of living. I mean, in a country where white people are running things and contributing the resources, the government isn't really that necessary. Well, the people in government there now, they want more power. They can't do it if the country is thriving. They need to turn it into a third world shithole. And then that way, people are dependent upon the government. And of course, the people in charge are just like, we don't really believe that white people are more productive. They're dumb. They're IQ morons. But, if people do start dying, we'll just get food aid from the UN. Because what's most important to us isn't that our people thrive, but that we get more power and that we stay in power. That's all we care about. All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So I was Sith, a longtime fan of the show. Yeah, this really chaps my ass, I work, I slave away, nose to the grindstone, all that, to pay my rent, to pay my bills, to live in this world. And these entitled cunts are getting fucking 4-star accommodations in a nice Art Deco apartment building because they're losers. You're essentially rewarding people for being down and out bums. Unbelievable to me. I would give these people, I don't even believe in socialism. I don't believe in social programs, period, okay? Which are aspects of a socialist regime. I don't believe in any of them, okay? I don't want fucking homeless shelters. I don't want fucking soup kitchens. Now, if you're a private organization and you want to dump money into this cause, go hog wild. Feed all the homeless people you want with your own fucking money, or people who have voluntarily donated money to you. I'm fine with that. I'm all about voluntarism. I'm all about freedom, okay? But don't steal my money. Don't take my money by force at the point of a fucking gun to pay for these lazy losers who have essentially been enabled in this lifestyle by the government, who's giving them vouchers to get apartments that are worth $4 or $5 a month, and they're shitting in stairwells. Oh my God, unbelievable to me. So the result has been high-stakes social experiment that so far has left few of its subjects happy. Police visits to the building quadrupled. Some tenants with vouchers say they have been made to feel unwelcome. No, really? By their neighbors, a dynamic that has unavoidable undertones of race and class in a largely white neighborhood. I wonder why. I wonder why it's a largely white neighborhood. I'm sure you stupid fucking honkies in the social fucking welfare services in fucking D.C. have been indoctrinated into this leftist propaganda bullshit, and you believe that the reason it's largely white is because white people are largely able to take care of themselves and be more productive than other races. Oh no, it's because of systematic racism. Yeah, okay. Aren't the majority of homeless people white? So stupid. Undertones of race and class. What class? There's no such thing as class. That's made up. Made up bullshit, okay? To create tension between people. Add more tension. Yes, it'll bring about the communist utopia even quicker. The more divisiveness we introduce into the public sphere. Most established tenants contend that they support the goals of the voucher program. Yeah, of course. They don't want to be called racist or classist or whatever, but that it has gone badly awry at Sedgwick Gardens, transforming the building into a dumping ground for people unprepared to live on their own. You think? Oh, boy. This is crazy. Let's see what else. This article is long. Way too long. Oh, my God. It's still going. I'm still scrolling down. All right. So these vouchers can be used for one-bedroom apartments that are starting rent $2,648 a month. According to that's more than most Americans make. Holy shit. No wonder we're in debt. According to Housing Authority documents, at Sedgwick Gardens, the going rate for one-bedroom units was about $2,200 per month in 2017, according to a former tenant who moved in that year without public assistance. Right. Yeah. So they're incentivizing people to be lazy. The worse off you are, the better chance you have of getting a free apartment in this wonderful Art Deco building where people are shooting up and shitting in stairwells. It's crazy. I don't want to read any more of this. This is just amazing to me. So, if you work hard and slave away, you'll get jack shit. Except your salary, right? Which, for most people, will not enable them to be able to afford living in this place. But if you're a homeless bum, come on in. We even have social workers on site to help you. It's insanity. Insanity. I really don't get it. If it was required, and if laws or the bleeding hearts wouldn't let you get away with not helping these people at all, which is what should be the case, I would say give them like a little tiny, like space that they can't stand up. It's maybe 2 feet high. They can crawl in, and there's it's just wide enough for a bed. It's just a bed in a box. That's it. That's what I would give you. And to get out, you have to use your feet to open a latch, you kick it open, then you got to crawl out like a crab. That's what I would give you. I wouldn't give you a fucking apartment worth $2,600 a month. Get the fuck out of here. So retarded. So fucking retarded. Let's help the homeless by moving them into this nice Art Deco building that has productive members of society living in it who are going to move out and go somewhere else because they don't want to live in an apartment building with a bunch of homeless people. They thought they were moving into a nice neighborhood to live with nice, productive people. Yeah, we want to live in a building with people who are similar to us, similar income, similar values, which led to us being able to make these kind of incomes, people who want a better life, a higher quality of life. Now, people who just get shit for free, they don't really need to or want to work to have quality lives. Yeah, that's why they need vouchers and your tax dollars. Unbelievable. Unbelievable to me. Fuck me. All right, let's move on to some other entitled cunts in society This time at the other end of the spectrum. That's right, former celebrities. So anybody hear about the college scandal where these rich assholes, former celebrities, were essentially paying universities to get their kids in? Wouldn't it be cheaper for your kid to just work hard and get good grades? Oh, well, that'd be too much work, right? So Lori Loughlin, anybody remember her? Oh, God. Anybody remember that crappy TV show from the, what was it, the 80s? The mid-80s to the early 90s. What was it called? Full House? Had those two twins. I forget what their name, but one of them's married to some old dude now, and they both had some kind of, eating disorder, anorexia or something, or bulimia. I don't know. But anyway, they look bizarre now. It's crazy. Aunt Becky. So she was Aunt Becky on that crappy show. You know, the one where you had the three old men living with the daughters of the one guy. And they were both uncles, or one of them was an uncle. And then the comedian dude that wasn't very funny at all, used to date that one singer, was a friend. Ugh, I thought that show was crap. Was crap! So Lori Loughlin was in denial and thought the DA was bluffing. So it turns out these people, some of them are going to go to jail. Imagine that. I guess they didn't have any friends in the Obama administration or the former Obama administration to get them off like Jesse Smollett did. So Lori Loughlin of Full House didn't believe she would see time in the big house. Of course not. I'm a celebrity. I'll never go to jail. Well, you're old now. You're old and you're post-wall and you haven't been on anything in 25 fucking years. So good luck. That's why she and husband Massimo Giannulli, sounds like a good mafia name. Mr. Giannulli, I broke his knees for you. That's good. Never go against the family. Rejected a plea deal in the college admission bribery scheme. Rejected. Multiple outlets reported, citing unnamed sources. She has been in complete denial and thought maybe she could skate by. Of course she did. Of course she did. An unnamed source told E! On Wednesday she refused to accept any jail time. 0 jail time because, I didn't really do anything wrong. I just paid a university $500,000. A university which, by the way, I don't think is that great. I mean, why didn't she shoot for Harvard or something? Southern California University. Come on. Is that really that great a school? Is anything in California great? I don't think so. She thought she could skate by. She refused to accept any jail time and thought the DA was bluffing. Why would she think that? Maybe her lawyer told her that? I'd get a new lawyer. She was adamant she wouldn't do any jail time. Are you out of your mind? They want to make an example out of you, you dumb bitch. She's attractive, right? Or she was attractive. She's not attractive anymore. She's piled on tons of makeup, but she still don't look that good. She's having to wear these gigantic glasses to hide half of her fucking face. They look bigger than those Jackie O sunglasses. Jesus. Federal prosecutors turned up the heat on Loughlin this week, slapping her and others in the case with additional charges of conspiring to commit fraud. That's serious. And money laundering. Oh, woo. Oh, you thought you'd skate by on that, did you, honey? No jail time, really? The superseding charges came after prominent figures snailed in the sting, including Desperate Housewives star Felicity Huffman pleaded guilty to mail fraud and honest services mail fraud. You see, you're all the wrong color. You're white people. I know what happened. They saw Jesse Smollett. I know this was before this, but I think that the rejection of the plea deal was after that. But anyway, I think they saw Smollett, and they said, well, he might get away with it. Okay, we'll be fine. Yeah, but you're not black and gay. You don't understand. You don't understand, Lori Loughlin. You're just a Wayman. But you're white. They cancel each other out, you see. Okay, you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm a Wayman, so I'll get the pussy pass. No, because yes, you're a white Wayman, but white women are increasingly not getting the privilege that Waymen get if they're white. You see, the whiteness cancels out the female, so, You're not getting that privilege anymore, ladies. Yeah, I see a pushback here from white feminists who are increasingly getting pushed out of the feminist movement by black and brown Waymen who are saying, we don't need no white feministas anymore because, yeah, they're women, but they're white, and white is evil. Oh no! Feminism is pushing us out, and we're no longer getting the advantages we did. And in fact, we might have to suffer some actual consequences and some inequality, some real inequality. Oh no! Yeah, a lot of these women are going to change their tune and start talking about how we need actual equality. Oh, feminism's going in the wrong direction. Yeah. It's been going in the wrong direction since day fucking one, but it's been benefiting you, so you didn't say anything. Now that the benefits are no longer happening, well, now they're going to start to fight back against it. Yeah, sure you are. Too late. You're going to jail, sweetheart. So federal prosecutors turned up the heat, slapping her and others in the case with money laundering. The superseding charges came after other prominent figures were snared. Laughlin and Giannulli are accused of paying $500,000. Whoa. That's a lot of money. Come on. Have you seen her daughter, by the way, the Laughlin? Gorgeous. Which explains why. You know, she couldn't get any good grades. Good-looking broads are stupid. Have you noticed that? Very early on, they realize their privilege, and they understand that they don't really have to work that hard. They can get by on their looks. Yeah. Well, when you have that kind of attitude, like mommy, like daughter, you have to pay $500,000 to get your kid into a good university, I guess, so that they can, spend 4 years chugging beer at fraternity parties. So their daughters would be admitted to the University of Southern California under the ruse of being crew athletes. What the hell is that? What's a crew athlete? What is that, one of those fucking people that rows in a boat or some shit? I don't know what that is. They faced the original charges in a Boston federal court last week with Huffman, but Laughlin and her husband have not agreed to enter guilty pleas because any deal with prosecutors would have entailed time behind bars, a source close to the case told People. Wow. They really thought that they would get through this with no jail time. Unbelievable. The guidelines call for a sentence of 18 to 24 months, according to the outlet. They weren't ready to accept that, a source said. What are you doing right now anyway? You're sitting around twiddling your thumbs trying to get your kids into a school. You're not even working. You might as well go to jail. You can get yourself into a nice jail, right? It's like a country club. Minimum security. You can play tennis all day. Only now the two reportedly are coming to grips with the gravity of the predicament. They could face dozens of years in prison if convicted of the more serious charges and sentenced to the maximum, which is an unlikely scenario, but it's still going to be more than 18 to 24 months. I love it. So, I'm beautiful. You're in your 50s, sweetheart. You're no longer beautiful. You have a subpar sexual marketplace value, like below zero. Try getting divorced and seeing if you can find a new man. It's not going to happen. You got kids, you're post 50. Yeah, good luck. Yeah. So you have no marketplace value sexually. You're not attractive anymore. You're unattractive, in fact. And you thought that you would get off with no jail time being a white woman? If you had been black, maybe. But you're white. People don't know how reality works anymore. They're all very stupid. They don't get it. This woman thought that she would get off the hook because she's a woman. It's not enough anymore. It's not enough. You're a leftist who doesn't know how your own group works. They've pushed, you see, they've pushed the margins out more as to what makes an oppressed victim class. Being a woman is no longer enough. Being a white woman is no longer enough. You got to be black. You got to be trans. You got to be a midget Native American, pounding on a fucking drum in the face of a white boy, but the white boy is accused of being the aggressor because he smirked. I mean, what are you thinking, honey? I'm going to get off scot-free because I have a vagina. No. You're going to the big house, sweetheart. Yeah. Lori is finally realizing just how serious this is. I would have thought getting arrested with guns pointed at her, that would wake her up to that fact. Nah, she's been arrested before, snorting the coke and all that. Nah, she doesn't think it's that serious, the source said. But she's seen the light now, and that she will do jail time, and she's freaking out. It feels like her whole world is falling apart. She's putting all her trust in her team of lawyers and hoping for the best. You should go back to the prosecutor and beg and plead for that former plea deal, which isn't going to happen. A lawyer for Laughlin didn't immediately answer HuffPost's request for comment. Of course, this is from the Huffington Post. Trying to paint her as the aggrieved party. Good luck! I love it. I hope she does 10 years in jail. Comes out looking like the old hag she is. No makeup will fix that face after 10 years in jail. I love it. Schadenfreude. Yes, I'm reveling in the misery and the misfortune of this horrible woman. Why didn't you just teach your kid to do better in school? I don't understand this. I don't understand it. I mean, her kids must be these spoiled brat, privileged cunts. You really got to pay $500,000, which is a lot of money, by the way. Again, this woman hasn't done anything in Hollywood since that crappy show went off the air. She might have been on that, what was it, Fuller House? Is that still on the air, by the way? Some new show that came out with the original cast or some of the original cast on it. The girls now have their own kids, and this Lori broad is now old, matronly broad. Maybe she's on that show. Maybe she was making some money for that, but she's not that rich. $500,000 is a lot of money to her. I mean, now you got that Jesse Smollett, who's actually still relevant. He's fighting the city of Chicago for $130,000. Of course, most of the reason he's fighting paying that, and they're having to take him to trial over that, is because if he pays it, it would kind of be like admitting he's guilty, which he is, but he doesn't want to do. Everything's relative. If I just continue saying I'm not guilty, that's the truth. Truth is what you make it. I have my own truth. There's no objective truth. I'm not guilty if I keep saying I'm not guilty, even though I'm guilty. Okay, Jesse, smell it. Bunghole smeller. Okay. I hate that fucking guy. Jesse Smollett. All right, let's move on. All right. Oh, here we go. Speaking of entitled cunts, listen to this from Breitbart News. Now, this is what happens when you allow large numbers of a certain population that is in no way, shape, or form compatible with your own society to move in. They're going to balkanize. They're going to start to take power through that balkanization. They'll make up large numbers of a certain constituency, and then they'll get their own people into Congress via that balkanization and voting their own people into public office, and then they'll start to take over. The cross belongs in the dustbin of history, say Muslim brothers, claiming that Islam is exempt from law. Imagine that. Imagine that. So 2 Muslim brothers who claimed Australian law did not apply to them or their religion have been fined for contempt of court. Big surprise! Muslim radicals who have contempt for Western legal systems. Muslim radicals who have set up their own Sharia courts in America, in Australia, in the UK. And instead of reporting a crime to the authorities, they report it to their local mullahs or whatever. And then they try and convict people in their own courts. And the local authorities either don't know anything about it or don't care enough to punish them for this. So Mustafa, I'm surprised their name ain't Muhammad, and Diakara Ali reportedly laughed and began abusing the judge. This is what you want, people. This is what you bleeding heart liberal wants in your Western countries. Laughed and began abusing the judge as the punishment was handed down in Sydney's Land and Environment Court after they were found guilty of felling trees without council permission. Where are we living? Is this the middle of Alaska? What the fuck are they doing chopping down trees? I don't understand. What, do they need firewood? Do people still use fucking fire stoves and, what the fuck? Felling trees? What are we, in the fucking frontier? Are we pioneers? Were they going to build a log cabin? What the fuck? The brothers had tried to argue the Islamic organization they ran, Diwan al-Dawla, was exempt from Australian law on religious grounds. This is what's coming. Once these people make up a large segment of the population, they're going to start changing laws to favor their religion. You watch. And they were free to develop their rural retreat, which included clearing native trees as they saw fit. Interesting. The court ruled otherwise, ABC News Australia reports. In sentencing the 2 men on Thursday, Justice Terence Sheehan said the pair only engaged in the court process following my reluctant decision to have you arrested to address the problem you've created, describing their contempt of court as flagrant. In his published reasons, of course, if this had been white Australians, they would have been arrested like that. Justice Sheehan said the brothers claim they do not have to comply with Australian law. He says that's false. Of course it's false. They live in Australia. But you do know that in many cases they don't comply with local law, and instead of enforcing the local law is changed. Like in the case of genital mutilation for girls, which, by the way, circumcision is genital mutilation of boys, but, boys are not seen as important enough to view that as a mutilation. Yes, it's just a wonderful religious practice that cuts off our foreskin and removes 20,000 nerves, even though the female clitoris only has 8,000 nerves, right? Yeah. But it's not harmful to the boy and his ability to experience sexual pleasure. And if it is, who cares? We want to make it so he's not a rapist. Yeah. In December 2017, the Australian National Imams Council. By the way, I find it very interesting that people talk about how men have been ruling the world for all this time, and there's a patriarchy. If there was a patriarchy, why would the heads of our kahaks be getting chopped off? Meanwhile, Wayman's clits ain't. Genital mutilation of men, no genital mutilation of women. But somehow, the Waymen are the oppressed ones? The Australian National Imams Council, with the assistance of the NSW Judicial Commission, prepared a document entitled Explanatory Note on the Judicial Process and Participation of Muslims. Meaning, if there's Muslims, you have to kowtow to them. The note clearly envisages that Muslims in Australia will often be expected to participate in the court process. It even stresses that will often be expected to participate in the court process, not always, which is going to be the case for an Australian citizen. Oh, my God. I thought there was white privilege. You only have privilege if you're a Muslim. Or black. In this case, an Aborigine. It even stresses that there are many similarities between the Western tradition and the Muslim concept of justice. Really? If you steal a Snickers bar in America, they don't chop your hand off. If you decide to leave Christianity, they don't kill you. I don't think there's too many similarities, really. The brothers were also accused of trapping a man who had delivered court documents on the property by padlocking the gates while he was inside. Isn't that kidnapping? Wait, what? Oh, my God. In America, that would be a federal crime. You'd go to jail forever. The brothers were accused of trapping a man. Well, that's illegally detaining him. That's kidnapping. That would be qualified as kidnapping in America. They trapped him by padlocking the gates while he was inside. No charges for that? Really? What the fuck? A furious Mustafa Kara Ali later left the court telling reporters, "The cross does not belong on public institutions. Our religion is prime. The cross belongs in the dustbin of history." Right. So the problem isn't religious symbols. It's Christian religious symbols in a Christian country, right? That was founded by Christians. Not Jews, Christians. Fuck that Judeo-Christian bullshit. It wasn't Judeo that founded any of the Western world. It was Christianity. Which, by the way, they want to throw into the dustbin and replace with Muslim symbols. Yes, our religion is prime. It's not that there should be no mixing of church and state. No. It's just the Christian church that's the problem. We're primary. Oh, man. Yeah, you progressives out there still want these people in your country? Oh, my God. This reminds me, I recently saw a video of white women getting down on their knees in a public space where Muslims were, what they do is they put down these little blankets, little rugs, and they bow to the east toward Mecca. Okay. And I saw some white women doing this to show solidarity with the Muslims. I also saw some video of some white girls kissing the feet of black men. As a way of, I don't know, I think they were saying, we'll be subservient to you because we caused you so much pain and suffering in the past. Really? It's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, the wrong people are kowtowing here. The Muslims are the ones that should be kowtowing because the majority of slaves bought in America were either bought from Muslim slavers or blacks, black slave traders. And the Muslims, by the way, were involved in the slave trade long, long before white Christians. Okay? People don't seem to understand this, though. While there was indentured servitude, you didn't have slavery in most Western countries, okay? Especially in the Middle Ages. People don't understand this, all right? That it was mostly the Muslims who kept the slaves and took people into slavery. Not Western whites. And they have slaves to this day. So you should be demanding that the Muslims kiss your feet and other black people kiss your feet. But of course, you know that won't happen because they have an actual sense of self and racial identity and dignity. So they won't do that. And of course, blacks and Middle Easterners have nothing for you to steal, to rob, to convince them to give you by guilting them. So, yeah. It doesn't do us any good to go after the people who are even more responsible than Whitey, who fought a war to end slavery, by the way, and killed fucking 600,000+ of their own people to do it. Oh, no. No. Yeah. It only pays to go after them, right? Doesn't pay to go after Muslims. Doesn't pay to go after our fellow black people who are even more responsible. Oh, no. We have to spread this false narrative that black people built America, and so Whitey owes us a living in the form of reparations, which is what Spartacus and Kamala fucking Harris are pushing for. We need to give reparations to Blackie. He built America by picking cotton badly. Yeah. America was built by cotton pickers. I don't think so. How did picking cotton build America? I'm not sure how that works exactly. I'm not sure how that works. Yeah. All white people are responsible for slavery, even though slavery was only legal in the South and not the North, and Northerners did not own slaves, but somehow the Northerners are responsible too. Oh, 1% of fucking Americans had slaves. So how are the other 99% responsible? Because they're white. So by that logic, you're responsible for all the crimes of Shaka Zulu and every other black person on the planet. Pay reparations to me as a white man. No, you're doing too good. You're doing too good. You don't need my help. But I need your help. So I'm going to push this false narrative so you'll give me free shit. Oh, okay. Lovely. This is what happens when you let large groups of these people who can't compete with you into the country. They can't compete. What do you think? These Muslims are coming into the country like Vietnamese did back in the 60s and 70s and starting their own businesses and taking care of themselves and being productive members of society? Nah, they're low IQ morons whose parents were first cousins, which chops off 15 IQ points at least right there. No, they're welfare babies. And they think they're owed it because, they're God's chosen. God's chosen with 80 IQs. You would think that God's chosen would be a little smarter. I guess God was taking a break the day he made these people. Or he was only putting in half the effort, right? Or 80% of the effort. 80 IQ. Yeah. All right, it's ridiculous. So strange. So let me know what you think in the comments section. And please like and subscribe to my channel. Also, in the future, if you'd like to be on the show, just send me a message on Skype. My Skype is open to anybody, not just those who are my contacts. So my Skype name is The Realist Philosopher. I also suggest that you follow me on Facebook, Magus Reason. You can see all the information there in the lower part of the screen. Twitter, The Realist 1967. On Gab, I'm The Realist Philosopher. And Instagram, The Realist Philosopher as well. I think. I need to double check that. I don't go on Instagram too much. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And if you'd like to donate, please consider visiting my website, therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That is therealistphilosopher.com/donate. And also, if you have something you'd like me to discuss on the show, if you have a subject you would like to suggest I talk about, or you have some questions you'd like me to answer, if you yourself would like to be on the show to discuss certain issues or problems you're dealing with, and you'd like to get a philosopher's insight into those, please consider emailing me at admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's ADMIN@therealistphilosopher.com. This show airs Monday to Friday evenings, 7 to 8 p.m. New York City time. So I hope to see you again on Monday. And that's it. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you all a good day. Take care.